drove the Lotus Exige a couple of years ago, I called it the end of an era after about 25 years of Elise Exige production and 13 years of Evora production. But what I didn't realise at the time was that the next era of Lotus would begin and end with this, the Lotus Emira. Lotus says the Emira isn't a direct replacement for the Evora, but it pretty much is, since it is, after all, also a two-seat mid-engine sports car aimed directly at the Alpine A110 and the Porsche Cayman. Now, in Singapore, the Emira range starts from about 400k without COE. The front end is obviously inspired by the 2000 horsepower Evija hypercar with its stacked LED headlights and these bonnet vents here. You come around to the side, 20-inch wheels front and back with Goodyear F1 Super Sport tyres or optional Michelin Pilot Sport Cup 2s. And this bodywork down the side that looks like it's been shrink wrapped around the air intake for the engine. Coming around to the back, we have thin LED strip tail lights. These large extractor vents in the rear bumper. These are also Evija inspired, and what they do is they relieve air pressure from the wheel arches so that the car doesn't generate lift. Nestled within the rear diffuser are these really prominent tailpipes. But my favourite styling detail on the Emira is this boomerang integrated rear spoiler that wraps around the entire rear end of the car. Now, all of the aero devices on the Emira are functional. Lotus says that this thing produces actual downforce at speed. Now, why did I say the Emira is the end of an era? After this, all future Lotuses will be electric only, and some of them won't even be sports cars. The next two projects that Lotus is working on are the Electra, which is a big luxury SUV, and codename Type 133, which doesn't have a name yet, and that's going to be a luxury four-door sports saloon. But back to the Emira. The last ever combustion engine Lotus is powered by a choice of two engines. The first is Mercedes-AMG's M139 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder out of the A45 hot hatch, and the other is this, Toyota's venerable 2GR 3.5-litre V6. But although the AMG engine is the world's most powerful 2-litre 4-cylinder engine, my choice would still be for the V6 for a few reasons. Firstly, because it's been lifted pretty much straight out of the Evora and the Exige. It's supercharged and it makes over 400 horsepower. But secondly, because it sounds like this. The third reason I want the V6 is because it's the only engine available with a 6-speed manual. Now, this unit is taken pretty much directly from the old Exige, and it's got a really satisfying chunky feel to it. It's really nice and slick to use. And it's also got this really beautiful exposed linkage. Fun fact, they've added this mesh cage surrounding the mechanism, kind of as a safety precaution, so you don't get incidents like your kid, if your kid is particularly curious and they get their finger inside while changing gears and injury. And another thing that apparently has been mentioned on the Lotus forums is sometimes people will get coins stuck in the mechanism. So when you're changing gears, why have you lost third gear? Oh, because of the coin stuck in the gear lever. Now, you can have the V6 with a 6-speed auto as well if you're boring. But if you want a 2-litre, that one is dual clutch only. Apart from this, the rest of the interior is pretty unrecognizable compared to old Lotuses. A couple of years ago, I drove an Evora in a road trip across New South Wales in Australia, and that was not great as a road trip car. There was no cup holder, there was no place to put your phone, it didn't really have door pockets. The head unit was just basic, the stereo was just an old basic head unit, so not the best road trip companion. The Emira, on the other hand, is meant to be a new kind of Lotus, one that's a lot easier to live with day to day. Hence, you've got the touchscreen here with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, you've got cup holders, you've got a place to put your phone, you've got a glove box, you've even got Napa leather, which is unthinkable in a Lotus from the last 25 years. But despite all that, all these creature comforts, the car still weighs about 1400 kilos, which is not far off the weight of the old Evora. and also not far off the weight of a Cayman. My favourite part though is this. Not the steering wheel itself, because it's this weird kind of hexagonal shape with a flat bottom, which will probably be a bit weird when you're doing a lot of steering like U-turns and stuff, but because it's connected to hydraulic power steering instead of electric, which gives a much more connected, more detailed feedback when you're driving on road. So what do you think of the Emira? Brilliant new effort from Lotus? Do you still wish you could buy an EVs? Or will you, like me, shed a few tears when this is gone? Let me know in the comments below, and as ever, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.